Hello, I'm Andy Graves with Crochet 123 Magazine. Today I am demonstrating the techniques you'll need to make the Novice Broomstick Lace Scarf in issue 11. If you haven't tried broomstick lace before, watch the beginner video to get started.
For our novice level scarf, we are doing a more traditional broomstick lace pattern, and this is kind of the pattern that you're traditionally used to seeing as broomstick lace. This is called peacock lace, and if you'll see, the eyelets are kind of staggered. To do that, you need to work one row that in this case, the loops are all using, each eyelet's using 6 loops. So you see how there's 6 loops here, 4 sets of 6. Then on the next row, the first group of loops is going to be 3 loops. And then you do 6, 6, 6, and then 3 again. You keep interspersing like that until you get to the last row on one side of your scarf. You're going to work again 4 groups of 6. But for our very final row, we're going to give kind of a flared edge to the end of our scarves, and we're working groups of 4 loops with 6 stitches in them, and that's what creates kind of an increase and flares out the end of our scarf. The other thing that's different with this pattern from our beginner pattern is that we're working off the opposite side of our foundation. So we work this scarf in 2 sides. One side comes to the full length that we want, and then we turn it around and we work half that length, or that same length again, off the opposite side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to work the loops off the bottom and also how to work the increased stitches. Earlier when we started this scarf, we created our foundation by doing a single crochet into the back bar or back bump of our chain. And what that does is when we turn our foundation over, we look at the back here, we've got little V's just like you normally have on the top of your stitches, like those little guys. So when you finish the first half of your scarf, which of course is much longer than this before you get to the flare, you fasten off your yarn, and then you're going to refasten your yarn into these little V's, and this is where you're going to make your first row of loop stitches for the second side of your scarf. So we're going to make a slip knot, and we're going to come over here. Now we want to make sure we have the right side of our work facing us, because again, like on the other side, we're not turning our work once we start working. And this is, you can tell the difference between the front side and the back side, in that you get a little denser stitching look here along these ridges, where on the front side, it's just this simple little line. So we've now turned our work upside down. We come to this first V-stitch, and it's a little tricky sometimes. This is one reason why we use the bigger hook when we start our foundation chain and then switch to the smaller hook for our stitches, is to try to keep these guys loose. So remember your first stitch. Now this is just to fasten your yarn to your work. Now we slip it through there, tighten up that slip knot, and we're going to do a slip stitch to fasten it. So pull that snug. And this loop that's now on your hook is what you're going to slide onto your pin. So using my knitting needle as a pin, you slide that loop on there. Take the working yarn, snuggle it down. Now, just like how we worked before, I'm going to go to the second stitch in line, go under the back loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, slide it onto my pin, and work that way all the way across. And in this particular swatch, and also in the scarf, when I get to the end of my loops, I should have 24 loops along my pin. And then you just continue on like you did on the first half of the scarf. So for our last rows, on either side of the novice scarf, we're creating a pretty little flare at the end of the scarf. And the way we do this is we work more stitches than we have loops. So instead of working groups of 6, we're grouping in groups of 4, and we're working 6 single crochet into the group. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we get to the end of this row, we're going to have 6 groups of 4 with 6 stitches in them. And this is going to create the pretty flare.